Section 1. Operation of Excavator. 1. Inspection items before startup. Inspection of coolant level. Inspection of engine oil level. Inspection of water or debris in water catchment. Inspection of hydraulic oil level. Inspection of gear oil level in slewing reducer. Inspection of battery cable harness. Lubrication of all axis pins on the working device. 2. Functional checks and operations in cap. Power on the electric lock. To ensure the monitor displays correctly, operate the various functional buttons on the monitor. To ensure that the on-off functions are working properly, adjust the seat and rear-view mirror positions to ensure safe driving. Operate the pilot valve to ensure smooth and non-sticking operation. Activate the AC cooling/heating functions, and adjust the fan speed and temperature to ensure proper AC functions. Check if the safety locking lever is secured in the locked position. Failure to lock the lever will prevent the engine from starting. Startup of engine. Ensure that there are no people or obstacles in the surrounding area, then sound the horn and start the engine. Exhaust gases are toxic, so ensure good ventilation when start the engine in an enclosed space, for may cause explosions. Do not use startup aids on cold days. Do not run the starter motor for more than 20s at a time. If the engine doesn't start, wait at least 2 minutes before trying again. Inspection and operation after engine start. Set the fuel control knob to the low idle speed position and allow the engine to run at the low idle speed without load for approximately 5 minutes. Set the safety lock control lever to the unlocked position and lift the bucket off the ground. Slowly operate the control lever of the working device to move the bucket and arm hydraulic cylinders to the end of their travel. Note: be careful not to interfere with the body or ground when retracting the working device. Alternately perform a full 5-minute bucket and arm operation with a 30s interval between bucket and arm operations. Engage the locking lever in the locked position and confirm that the left and right working device levers cannot control the rotating in working devices. Check the fuel level indicator to ensure a sufficient amount of fuel. Ensure that there are no warning icons displayed on the monitor. Inspect whether there is any abnormal exhaust color, noise, or vibration. If any abnormalities are found, repair is necessary. In case of any abnormal situations or faults, immediately turn the start switch to the OFF position for an emergency shutdown. If the working device is operated without sufficient warm-up, the response of the control lever will become sluggish and it may not move as required by the operator, so warm-up operations must be performed. Especially in cold areas, sufficient warm-up is required. Operation of machine. Before operating the steering control lever, inspect the direction of the track frame. If the drive wheel is in front, the operation of the travel control lever is opposite. When moving, inspect the surrounding area of the machine for safety and sound the horn before moving. No one is allowed in the area around the machine. Remove all obstacles on the machine's travel path. The rear of the machine is a blind spot, so be especially careful when reversing. For detailed instructions on operating the machine, please read the driver's manual carefully. Engine stall. If the engine is suddenly shut down before it has cooled down, it will greatly shorten its service life. Therefore, except in emergency circumstances, do not suddenly shut down the engine, especially if the engine is overheated. Do not shut it down suddenly, but let it run at a low idle for gradual cooling and then shut down the engine. Let the engine run at low idle for about 5 minutes to gradually cool it down. Turn the key switch to the position OFF to shut down the engine. Remove the start switch key. Inspection after engine shutdown. Inspect the working device, exterior and undercarriage of the machine and to make sure whether there is any water or oil leakage. If any abnormalities are found, repair is necessary. Avoid removing the filter screen on the fuel filler and proceed to fill up the fuel tank to its maximum capacity. Inspect the engine compartment for paper scraps and debris. Clear them away to avoid fires. Special reminder: during the initial 100h of operation, it is crucial to perform a machine break-in. After starting the engine during this break-in period, allow it to idle for 5 minutes. Steer clear of putting excessive loads or engaging in high-speed operations. Unless absolutely necessary in emergencies, refrain from sudden starts, accelerations, turns, and stops. Section 2. Maintenance of Excavator. Daily maintenance of excavator. Park the equipment in a position that is easy to maintain. Draining or cleaning of fuel pre-filter. 1. Open the right door and lock the support rod. Close the stop valve. Place a container directly below the fuel pre-filter and twist the drain valve of the fuel pre-filter by hand so as to drain the water in the water collecting cup. In case of any impurities within the water collection cup, place a container at the cup's bottom and wrap it with a cloth. Then, use a filter element wrench to carefully remove the water collection cup and clean it thoroughly using clean diesel. Once you've thoroughly cleaned the water collection cup, reinstall it back in place. Open the valve and close the right door. Inspection of oil and fluid levels. Inspect the engine oil level. Inspect the anti-freezing fluid level. Inspection of fuel level. Inspect the slewing gear oil level. Inspect the hydraulic oil level. Inspection of loose bolts. Inspect whether the fixed bolts of the sprocket wheel, track plate, drive wheel, support wheel, lower frame, counterweight, slewing bearing, main pump and slewing motor are loose. Inspection of system leakage. Inspect whether there is any leakage in the engine's air pipe, water pipe, and oil pipe. Inspect whether there is any leakage in the main oil pipe of the main pump, main valve, and working device. Inspect whether there is any damage in electrical cables. Injection of lubrication points. Adjust the working device position and inject new grease into pins and shafts of the working device and its oil cylinder until new grease overflows from the gap. Regular maintenance of excavator. Maintenance of engine. Replacement of engine oil and filter element. Replace the engine oil every 250h or 6 months, whichever comes first. 50h for the first replacement shall prevail. Materials required: engine oil filter element 1 pc and engine oil 22L. Place the machine on a level and open location and shut down the engine. Wait for 15 minutes or when the coolant temperature is below 50 degrees Celsius. Remove the bottom plate and place a container directly below the engine oil pan drain valve. Slowly open the oil drain valve. Inspect the discharged engine oil. If there are a large amount of metal shavings and foreign objects, please contact the SHANTUI dealer. Close the oil drain valve. Replace the engine oil filter element. When installing the filter element, fill the new filter element with clean engine oil and apply engine oil to the seal ring of new filter element. Twist the filter element by hand until the seal gasket of filter element contacts the seal surface of installation seat, and then tighten additional 1/2 turn. After replacing the engine oil filter element, inject the engine oil through the oil injection port until it reaches between the mark H and mark L on the dipstick, close to the mark H. Start the engine and run it at low idle for 3 to 5 minutes, then stop the engine. Inspect the engine oil level and the sealing of the engine oil filter element. Replacement of fuel filter element. The fuel pre-filter shall be replaced every 250H, and the fuel course filter element and fuel fine filter element must be replaced at the same time. If the filter element is clogged due to poor fuel quality or improper maintenance, it shall be replaced immediately even if it has not reached the replacement time. Materials required: fuel pre-filter element 1 PC, diesel course filter element 1 PC, and fuel fine filter element 1 PC. Replacement steps: open the right door and lock the support rod. Place the valve in the closed position. Replace the fuel course filter element. Separate the water collecting cup and the fuel pre-filter element, and clean the water collecting cup according to the method in 1.1. Replace the fuel fine filter element. When replacing the fuel filter element, tighten the new pre-filter element and water collecting cup by hand. Fill up the filter element with fuel oil. Clean the filter element seat. Apply lubricating oil to the seal ring of new filter element and twist the filter element by hand until the seal gasket of filter element contacts the seal surface of installation seat. Then, use a filter element wrench to tighten the filter for additional 1/2 turn. After the fuel pre-filter element, fuel course filter element, and fuel fine filter element are replaced, open the valve to exhaust air. Maintenance of hydraulic system. Replacement of hydraulic oil. Replacement period: every 2,000H. If using attachments such as braking hammer, the replacement period is shortened to once every 1,000H. Materials required: 400L hydraulic oil, oil suction filter element 1 PC, breathing valve filter element 1 PC, and oil returning filter element 1 PC. Replacement steps: operate the machine to rotate until the oil drain plug at the bottom of the hydraulic oil tank is positioned between the left and right tracks. Completely retract the bucket and bucket arm cylinder, lower the working device to the ground, and then stop the engine. Lift the safety lock handle and move the left and right control handles in various directions a few times. To release the remaining pressure in the hydraulic system, lower the safety lock handle. Release the internal pressure of the oil tank through the breathing valve. Remove the oil filler cap. Remove the oil suction filter element. Place a container below the oil drain plug. Unscrew the oil drain plug. Drain the hydraulic oil. After the hydraulic oil is drained, tighten the oil drain plug. Install a new oil suction filter element, an oil returning filter element. Refill hydraulic oil. Install the oil filler cap. Replace the filter element of breathing valve with a new one and install the breathing valve. Inspect the hydraulic oil level.